before they get off.
Adam Bridgman's picture is very professional. Woo, we made it. I don't know how good the connection will be because we're hotspotting up Corey's Vodafone phone. Good morning. It's nice to see everyone's waiting for us for a change, isn't it?
Hey.
Abby's on the Stairmaster.
I'm dying.
Mads, your face looks lean. Yeah.
Because I've just got off the cardio, that's why, mate. I'm just being sucked out of me. And I'm on day 2 of 0 carbohydrates, so I'm not having a great time.
Oh.
Well, I'm eating granola, so don't hate me.
What the fuck you eating granola in the morning for?
I've got a chocolate squares bar, so
I've been a bagel and some bacon.
Yeah, all right, not fucking food. Fucking hell. What have I got? Does everyone want to see my meal one? Corey's just lovingly prepared for me.
Oh. It's pretty nice.
Orders on domestic for you, sir.
But instead of an Easter egg, it did rhyme with some flowers.
oh, romance.
That's cute.
In it?
Right.
What?
Go on, take note.
I said, what are you telling everyone for? Makes me look soft.
Is everyone on?
I think so. Well, not everyone. There's a lot of people.
You're right there, Adam.
There's
Are you getting involved?
about 50 people still in bed, apparently. What is that?
That's a piece of bacon.
No, it's fucking not. Are you taking the piss?
It is.
Swap that. Are you joking?
So it was.
Is that a piece of bacon?
Kids, you got TV.
Looks like you can't shoot it. No.
I'm not TV.
Not a joke.
Say hi.
It was the only one there.
I'm taking the piss. Give it to me.
Anyone, you need to know the calories.
You thought scabby bit there. Mads can eat that.
Yeah, 100%.
Not that sweet.
Are we
Yeah, we'll rock and roll.
next to Trent?
Sorry for the delay. Very annoying. Here he is.
You sit there.
How is everybody?
Yeah, good.
Good, thanks.
Good, thanks. Yeah.
Good day.
Anyone eating an Easter egg yet?
No, I bought past the Easter egg aisle. It's sad times.
Good.
I'm not a
mini
massive
egg.
fan of chocolate, so I'm all right.
I've got mini egg brownies, homemade, sitting in the kitchen.
Save them.
In them.
They're for the kids.
Bin them.
They're for the kids.
Fucking bin them.
In them.
Is anyone else eating asparagus for breakfast?
Spinach.
Just my granola.
Sit back.
Anyway, should we crack on?
Can we all welcome? So, who's our new faces today? We've got Lewis.
Lewis is new.
Lewis is new.
I think iPhone down here is Aisha.
Yeah, that's not Aisha. Everyone give a big wave to Lewis, please. So,
Lewis has made the cut because he's out of bed on the Zoom.
Lewis was
Matt's trying to get in, but he said, wait.
Ricky's always on the move. He's in the gym today, though, so we can't shout him.
He's in. No, he's in with Matt. I think. Here he is. My man. Cool. Should we crack on? Let's crack
I don't
on.
think there's anyone else entering the room.
No. You know what? It's a relatively fast turnout. I'll allow it.
I feel like last week was. Make it a bit smaller so you can see. Corey's running the show to start with here.
Yeah. All right.
So I can eat my mountain of carbohydrates.
So, gang, we are getting stuck in with an episode or should we say episode or topic of off-plan eating. I
It's
think,
not a podcast.
oh, it could be with my co-hosts. So guys, we're getting stuck into the topic of off-plan eating. I think this is something that we have all or will all come up against in our journey of self-progression, self-development, and being in a position where we can really try and hone in on our goals. Reason being, unfortunately or fortunately, however you deem to sort of see it, what we do from a physical or aesthetic aspect requires us to be very, very consistent from a nutrition basis, fundamental, like completely. Like, it is the building blocks, it is the foundation of our progression. And if we are not 110% committed to that, unfortunately, it will show. You can't out-train a bad diet, but at the same time, that's probably the negatives. The positives are, it can also provide us with an enormous amount of, oh, here we go, sorry, 2 seconds, Kurt's fucking messaging me, won't let me in.
I saw that.
All right. At the same time, the positives are, it allows us as individuals to be able to continue on our progression and continue to work towards our goals. But actually, from a balanced perspective, now some of you will be on this call and you'll be like, well, Corey never gives me an off-plan meal. And some of you will be on this call and be like, well, Corey always gives me an off-plan meal. And fundamentally, guys, understand that whatever situation you're in, I had this conversation with Kirk yesterday, who is yet to join the call and get himself out of bed. He was like, oh, I gave him an off-plan meal. He hasn't had an off-plan meal in 20 weeks. Not through any choice of my own, but because he has made the decision that that's what he wants to do. Now, so understand for you all that it's not a point of you're either doing very, very well or you're doing very, very badly. It's more the point of what's necessary to help you achieve that goal, and then getting yourself in a position where you can actually allow yourself that time to take a step away from plan. So how I would always look at it for the new starters, let's say Lewis, for example, Lewis has got goals that are pinnacle for him. They're at the top of the mountain, great, and he wants to achieve those. The realization is, if he's going to achieve those, there's going to be an element of momentum that is going to have to be required or achieved for him to be able to get forward. How much momentum does it take for a plane to take off? A hell of a lot. If it had to stop halfway up the runway, it would take, they'd either have to come back and then go again, or they'd have to have a hell of a lot of momentum to be able to get off the runway in the end. So this is massively, massively important. That's my little introduction speech, but we're going to get stuck in. All right. If I know how to work this thing. I actually put this together, by the way, guys. So hurdles. What are the hurdles for off-plan eating? What would we define as off-plan eating? So number one, we got social occasions. Number two, we've got refeeds and cheat meals or adherence rewards. I should have wrote that down. Number three, we've got self-sabotage. Number four, we've got the floodgates. Number five, we've got unmissable events. And number six, we've got holidays. So again, who in this chat thinks that they won't come up against any one of these hurdles? This is it. So quite simply, what are we doing? We're looking at social occasions to start off with. So these are the ones that, to be fair, I think you've got to understand the value of the situation and position you're potentially putting yourself in. Now, for myself, I've been in a position over the years I've done this for as long as I can remember. I have certainly been in a position where this is the hardest situation to be in, where peer pressure occurs. You're around your friends that you've been friends with for your entire life, and like, fucking hell, Core, just have a fucking drink, you neg. Like, what? Oh, why are you even here? And banter kicks in. Oh, what you? And we'll be in this situation, this vicious circle, where you may fold under this situation. You may be in this social occasion where you've got a lot of pressure, and you say, do you know what? Fuck it, I'll have one. one may turn into two may turn into 4, and then you wake up the next day with an enormous amount of guilt. So that's one of the hurdles that we're going to face as individuals trying to reach our physical, mental, and aesthetic goals. Okay. Number 2, refeeds and cheat meals. And this probably ties in very, very closely with floodgates and self-sabotage, to be perfectly honest, because giving you an inch, I'm hoping you won't take it more. Yeah. Go away, have a clean cheat meal, have a Nando's, have a main and 2 sides. Okay. Are you going to be one of those people potentially who says, oh, well, fuck it, I've had a main and 2 sides, I might as well order the brownie as well? And then on the way home from Nando's, if you don't get it delivered or pick it up, you slip into Tesco's and slip into the bakery aisle and buy yourself 40 cookies and then go home and absolutely just obliterate it. Understand that the idea of these adherence rewards are something to give you a mental and physical refresher, and then move on from there. Self-sabotage. How many people, and I actually want you to say, how many people have been in a position, it's a shame that Steve isn't on this actually, not Steve Ryan, Steve Easton. He is somebody who has a massive problem, and I think mental health comes into this as well, but we won't get into that. He's someone who has a massive problem with actually moving forward towards his goals, and then naturally feeling the need to pull himself back, where he has disbelief comes in. He has very, very low belief in the fact that he can actually achieve what he wants to achieve. So he just says, fuck it. And he'll make an enormous amount of progress in a week to 10 days. And then he'll have 2 days where he's like, I don't want to speak to Corey. I don't want to go to the gym. I don't want to follow my diet. And then he's back to where he is. So breaking through that psychological threshold or psychological barrier of this is where I stick every time. And then this is what I need to break through. And breaking that pattern.
Having a coach like you guys obviously all do with us is a key to like not self-sabotage, because I think people self-sabotage when they just are accountable to themselves, because they think, because they don't check in with themselves or take photos, they're like, oh, well, I'm not really making any progress, or I don't feel like I'm to scales haven't moved, so fuck it, I'll eat the pizza. Whereas obviously because you're accountable to us, then you think, oh no, actually, I don't know if I'm making progress or not until I do my check-in, so I better not fuck it up before then. So it gives you that reassurance that you are making progress and just helps keep you on track. But self-sabotage is a big one, especially if you've got self-doubt where you don't think you're good enough. And that, like, you suffered with that, haven't you? Like, you say that, like, oh, I don't, like, what's the point, because I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that, I might as well just fuck it off. And it's like, well, no, that's not the case, is it? And if everybody did that, no one would get anywhere. So but yeah. Floodgates, self-sabotage. So again, taking an inch or having an inch and taking a mile goes out. I mean, that doesn't need to be just explained. Unmissable events. We're looking at things where you're probably going to be strong-armed into a situation where, do you know what, you probably have to be present. I don't know, your sister or brother's wedding, and Corey, the bodybuilder's turning up. Oh, he's not going to eat, he's not going to drink, he's not going to be involved, he's going to be a neggy bitch, and we're going to be in a position where he's potentially going to ruin everyone's day. That's never happened. Did you know how many calories are in that beer, Jonathan? So unmissable events, then holidays. Now this is a massive one. Summer's coming up. I think most of you have actually been on holiday whilst you've been with me as clients. If you haven't, then that's absolutely fine. But there's an enormous amount of strategy that goes into that and how you can enjoy it, but also obviously be in a position where if you want to still actually make progress. Here we go, we're back on. So why it needs managing: calorie average, mental sanity, preserve progression or preserve progress. Occasions can be enjoyed, not feared, and then it improves relationship and confidence with food. So again, guys, just to put it really, really simply, if you are in a position where you are in a calorie deficit, okay, let's say you're in a calorie deficit of 500 calories per week. That's going to be the best part of 3,500 calories lost or down over the course of the week. Yeah.
Now, that could equate to the best part of a kilo's worth of body weight loss. It's not fat, it's not muscle, it's just body weight loss as a whole. If you are someone who then decides at the end of their week, or they get 6 days in, you say, do you know what, fuck it, I'm going to fall into a Domino's. And that Domino's equates to 2,500 calories. You've undone 2,000 calories worth of work, and your deficit will only be 1,000 for that week, which, to be honest with you, in the grand scale of things, you were probably better off doing half the work that you did that week and not cheating on your diet. Okay. So calorie average is an absolutely huge one and trips people up. Okay. Mental sanity. You're in a position where if you can step away from your plan, great, because you've got strategies and you're in a position mentally where you can do that. But it also goes the complete flip side where you do end up cheating on your diet, and it's just a very, very big downward spiral from there. Preserving progress, obviously that doesn't need to be explained. Occasions can be enjoyed, not feared. Having that strategy, and I think confidence is built through that as well. You have to be able to go through that situation and be like, okay, yeah, I've pre-planned what I'm going to eat at this restaurant. I know I've said that I'm going to have one drink, and it's going to be a spirit and a diet mixer, and I'm going to be super, super present because I'm comfortable with the plan that I've got. Following through that plan, like you do every single day, guys. You tick your boxes, you eat your food, you do your cardio, you go to the gym, and what happens? You make progress throughout the week. So you just need to be able to implement that plan. And then
I think it's important to be able to like go out, because this isn't your life. Like, it is your life to an extent because you're trying to improve yourself, but you're not 4 weeks away from getting on stage, most of you at this point. So you can say, okay, well, I've got Easter with the family. So they're the opportunities, without focusing on the food as a event, to actually enjoy. So it's important to enjoy them and not have anxiety around the fact that you're going to eat something different. And the more you do it, like every other week or something, and the more times those events happen, the more you'll realize that you can do that and have that off-plan meal, and it won't ruin your progress, and you'll gain confidence with that. And this is where you get to a long way down the line, where you can manage what you're doing a little bit better, and then you can enjoy those weeks where you say, right, okay, I'm going to go and have a meal with the family on my other half, and you can enjoy it and not feel guilty for it. I'll do this one if you want to.
Okay.
So first one we'll cover is like social occasions events. So what we've done is covered a few different things to manage and how we'll do each one. So we covered this in the first week about like when we're speaking about routine and talking to people about what you're doing. So communicate with your people, like what you're doing. Say, I'm coming out for a bit, like I'm going to have dinner, I'm going to have a drink, and then I'm going to go home. So communicate with them with what you're doing and explain that you're on this journey you're on. How to manage that meal. So replace a meal on the day. Don't bank meals through the week. I had a conversation with somebody yesterday that said, oh, I'm having a meal with the family on Sunday, so I've been removing a meal every day this week. I said, no, don't do that. What we need to do is just replace a meal on the day. If you've got a meal you'd have at lunchtime and you're going to have it with the family, replace the meal you usually eat with that meal. When you come away from that meal, get straight back on plan and continue with the rest of your day. If it's a bigger meal, be sensible. If you're having 3 courses and you're out, maybe replace 2 meals, but just be sensible. Use the time frame that you're out for that meal in with the time frame you would usually have your other meals, and replace that time frame and those meals in that time. That's how that needs to be managed. Don't bank calories. Enjoy the occasion. It's not about the food. Don't think, oh, I'm going for a meal, I'm going to gorge myself. Think about the occasion. Think, I'm going to enjoy some family time, so I'm going to be present and enjoy the time. Make it not food focused, make it occasion focused. And then choose similar foods that you know sit well with you, that are on your plan. So if you have you have a lot of varied foods in your plan, like I know you do, but think of things like, if you don't usually eat a saucy carbonara that's full of cream and cheese, like don't choose something like that off the menu, because it's probably going to upset your digestion. So choose similar things, like, choose potato-based stuff, choose pasta, choose rice, choose meat, choose things that you would usually eat, but obviously they are different. So stick with what you know suits you. And then going into holidays and time away, obviously people can be a bit anxious if they've made loads of progress and they're going on holiday for a long weekend or a week, how we manage that. So if you are doing something like firstly doing like self-catering, you might have an option where you can sort of have your breakfast similar or the same, maybe your lunchtime similar or the same, and then your evening meal, you choose to go out and choose something sensible and manage your food choices that way. And also what we recommend is if you're somebody on plan that's eating 5 to 6 meals a day, when you go out on holiday, you're probably only going to eat 3. So if you think about portion sizes of those 6 meals, you have the opportunity there to think, right, well, meal 1 and 2 together is about this, so that is what I could eat. Meal 3 and 4 is about this, so that's what I could eat at lunchtime. And 5 and 6 is this, so that's what I could eat in the evening. So don't think about those small portions. Think about the fact that you would usually eat 6 meals and think about what that would look like over 3. So you just eat more in those meal times. And then if you do have the opportunity to stay fairly on plan, but you are taking time away from the gym, stay on rest day food. So we've got Amber this week's going away to Scotland, and she's got the ability to be self-catering in like a camper. So we're giving her food sources that she can make easily in the camper. She doesn't have to boil potato or anything, and she'll just stay on rest day food while she's there. So she can manage that. We can give easier food sources like bagels and rice cakes and stuff like that that's easy to make. So nice and straightforward. You can also potentially, if you're out for the whole day and it's not something you can prepare for and you're away, we can give you the macros of the food you're eating, or you can work them out yourself on MyFitnessPal, and then you can match them to the food you're eating. You could macro track for that day. So you could say, right, this is what my normal macros are. I'm away for 2 days at the weekend where I can't prep any food, but I can track my meals because I can use MyFitnessPal to macro track the food that I'm eating. So that is how I would recommend sustained time away. Because it is important you enjoy this time, but also don't think, oh my God, I'm going to ruin all my progress, and then self-sabotage then kicks in as well.
Yeah, I think the meal approach situation is absolutely huge on holiday. Like most importantly, understand that we are human beings, and we do agree with the idea of going on holiday to go on holiday. Like you need to go away and enjoy yourself. It's not bodybuilding boot camp. Do you know what I mean? It's not like, oh, fantastic. Rebecca doesn't have to work a 9 to 5. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get her on cardio for 4 hours a day because she's got loads of time to do so. Like, no, I want her on the sunbed, like soaking up the sun. That's what I want you doing. But from a strategy standpoint, I also don't want any clients going away and undoing the hard work that they've worked so hard for. It's how many times do you see it? And maybe it's just me because I bother to look, but the guys or people who turn up to an all-inclusive holiday on day 1 looking the nuts because they've dieted for 12 weeks before they went on holiday, and by the time they leave, they're a different fucking person, me included. Like I've been there, so I think little strategies like for Harry Sullivan went to Brazil for 5 weeks, I think, off the back of a very, very short recomp phase, diet phase, and he was like, cool, like I want to get in shape, I'm going away, and then he was like, great, and then close to the time, he was sort of thinking, well, shit, I'm going to be very, very out of shape. I'm away for 5 weeks. Like, what am I going to do? So we said, right, okay, well, if you're eating 500 calories per meal, yeah, and you're eating 6 meals, all right, why don't we condense that down into 3? Like, is it likely that you're going to be eating 1,000 calories per meal whilst you're away in Brazil? Maybe. Okay, well, let's say you have a relatively simple breakfast, you have a relatively simple lunch, nice, relatively healthy one, rice, chicken for lunch, you can get that anywhere. You can have a nice breakfast in the morning. You have our favorite bacon and egg bagel. Do you know what I mean? Like we live by that shit. So you have that for breakfast, you have that for lunch, and you probably got a hell of a lot of calories to spend in the evening. Then he came back 2 kilos lighter, in better shape. So there is always ways that we can do it. And he went out in the evening. He didn't sit there over steak and rice in the apartment. Like he went out for dinner, probably had a dessert, probably had a couple of drinks, but having those extra calories to spend is honestly a game changer. Cheat meals and adherence rewards. Mads?
Okay, yeah, so obviously this is more common for everyone here, where we'll say, okay, we'll have an off-plan meal this weekend, or if you've got something with the family, again, come down to the occasions. This is how this is looked at. So people call it cheat meals. Corey likes to call it an adherence reward because he says you've been on plan all week, you've made amazing progress, so have yourself a meal this weekend, enjoy yourself, let your hair down, enjoy time with the family and chill out. Now, One thing we recommend with this is to go out for a meal. So reason being, if you're at home and you order something or you cook something and you get some desserts in or a tray of chocolate or whatever you do, the likelihood is if you're at home, that floodgates thing happens because you can't really differentiate the meal time from the evening time. So you might start eating it at 5 and by 8 o'clock, you're still on the sofa eating Mr. Kipling's. Like, it just doesn't really end. There's no really end to it. So the recommendation is to treat it as an event. Go out for a meal, like we'll go out for a Nando's or something, like go out for some food, have that as your meal, enjoy the food, and then come away from it. So you leave the table, you've had your cheat meal, you've had your nice time, and then you go back to what you were doing before. So it allows you to mentally split that. Otherwise, often what can happen is that, oh, I'm at home, I've eaten this, and I'm just going to eat everything in sight because I've started eating, so I might as well carry on now.
Restaurant portion sizes are a hell of a lot more stingy than your to eye.
Yeah.
You're always going to give yourself a little bit more.
You're always going to eat.
Yeah.
If you get garlic bread from a restaurant, they might give you 2 slices, not a whole baguette. So like, and then follow the instructions. So like, it sounds silly, but sometimes it might be like, okay, you're on a diet, you need a bit of a refeed because you're a bit overdrawn. So let's give you a refeed. Go and have a Nando's. Don't have a dessert. Just have a main and a couple of sides. Like, do that. Like, don't take the piss. Don't open the floodgates. Don't take the mile when we give an inch. Like, just have your meal, enjoy it for what it is, enjoy the occasion, and then move away from it. So that kind of covers the floodgates thing as well. Choose your meal or your option. Think about what you're having. Like, we'll talk about it in the week. I'll say, right, we're going to have something the weekend. What should we do? Let's go to Sheesh, or let's go to Nando's. Let's do this, let's do that. And we'll think about what we're going to eat. Then we can look forward to it and enjoy it and enjoy the occasion, and don't just rush it. Like, the worst thing I sometimes see is we give someone an off-plan meal and then they're like, amazing, and they drive straight to McDonald's and get a Big Mac. Now that's fine, Aisha. That's fine if that's what you enjoy, but it's over before she's laughing. It's over before you know it, and you haven't like really enjoyed it. You haven't made an occasion out of it, and that's fine if you don't need that. But I think it is quite good to allow that cheat meal and reward to be like, right, I'm coming away from that. I'm celebrating the fact I've had a good week. I'm going to enjoy this hour and a half to sit down and have a meal with my friend or my family, or even
yourself.
On your own. Like on your own, like it's absolutely fine. So just choose to enjoy that and make a little bit of an occasion out of it so it feels nice as well. Also recommend doing it in the evening. So once you've been off plan and you've had that meal, the likelihood is you're probably going to go home and go to bed after that. Like, there's nothing else to do. So you then wake up in the morning, fresh day, start again. If you go for like a brunch, often like I'll see that just continues through the day. And once you've been off plan once, people think, oh, well, I fucked up there. Well, I had my breakfast. So Cora's got a pack of biscuits out at lunchtime. Like, fuck it, I'll just have one because I'll just add it to this morning's calories. And it doesn't really work like that. So the evening's quite good because you've usually been on plan all day. So your energy balance is really good as well. So you feel good all day. Everything's working as it should be. You've been to the gym, you've done your normal routine, and then go and treat yourself. So that's the recommendation there. And then often recommend doing it on a training day if possible, just because it feels earned. Then your calorie expenditure that day is a little bit higher. So your body's probably likely to use it a little bit better for recovery. And you are going to utilize that food just a little bit better. So that's the recommendation there for cheat meals. Now, this is the not planned thing. This is the, oh fuck, I've cheated on my diet, and how we then manage that coming off the back of that. Obviously, it's not what we want. We don't want to fall off the wagon. We don't want to fall into the biscuit tin, which is our favorite phrase, and we don't want to be tempted by what other people are doing. But essentially, the reason why we don't want to cheat on our diet sounds really obvious, but it ruins our calorie deficit for the week. Like Corey said earlier, if you're on a 500 calorie a day deficit and you have one Domino's at the weekend, like, you can very easily consume between 3,000 and 5,000 calories in one Domino's, like one pizza and a few cookies, and you've ruined it. And also it'll ruin your digestion for a couple of days. I don't know if any of you've had this before, where you've eaten a pizza or something
Hangover.
And you feel shit the next day. It's a food hangover. The amount of sodium in it slows your digestion down. You feel bloated. You're just not having a great time. And that is the case. And it will halt you for a week. And what will happen is you'll check in and we'll say, right, crack on with your diet for the whole week because you spoiled it at the weekend. And you've almost lost a week's worth of progress, because we can't do anything with you at that point. We just have to get you back on plan, get you back into a routine. And then the following week we go again. So you almost end up like 2 weeks behind. Also, if it happens, just accept it and move on. It's not the end of the world. It happens. Like, we're not all being perfect. Like, no one's perfect. People fall off the wagon. People get tempted, and we work and get better and better and better. That's a shame Demi's not on this call, because Demi is a really good example of this. When she started, would be tempted by people at the weekends because she had a lot of weight to lose. People didn't necessarily take her seriously on her journey. They thought, oh, whatever, you're gonna be a bodybuilder, right? Okay, whatever. Well, we're going out, so do you want to come out for pizza? And she just ended up caving. And now she's like, no, thank you, I'm all right. Like, she doesn't get tempted by that because she's stronger than that now. But it takes a lot of time. We've been doing this for a year together. So these occasions can and potentially will happen, and it's not the end of the world, but just accept it and move on. Don't self-sabotage, own up to it, message us the next morning probably and get it over and done with, and say, oh, fucking hell, I ate Domino's last night, couldn't help myself, or whatever, or ate a full pack of Ferrero Rocher, couldn't help myself. So just ate a full Easter egg, couldn't help myself. So just tell us.
In that fucking Easter egg.
Yeah, share it.
Bin it.
Share it with the bin. No, I'm joking. But that will happen. So just be honest about it.
Yeah.
And don't make up for it with extra cardio. Like, I've heard people say, not even just cutting food all week, like, oh, and Abby said this to me before, oh, I did this and I had a meal, so should I do some extra cardio tomorrow to make up for it?
Nope.
Absolutely fucking not. No, because all that does is build a bad relationship with food, because it says that every time you eat something that's not on plan or within your calories, you have to substitute it by going and running on a treadmill or starving yourself. And it's not a good, healthy way to look at food and what we're doing, because like we said earlier, you can have an off-plan meal without it ruining your progress. Like, you can have an off-plan meal, and I'm sure there's people on this call that have an off-plan meal every single week and they still lose weight every single week. Like Demi, all the way through her diet with me, has had an off-plan meal every single week and has lost 20 kilos.
My boys must think I'm a right arsehole.
So like they've got that allowance to have an off-plan meal every week and continue to lose weight. So it doesn't affect your progress if managed correctly, and if looked after, and if followed like the basic rules of enjoyment, you'll be absolutely fine. So that is, I guess that's my bit, but I think there's another side. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I think with regards, there's a couple of things. We want to ensure that your relationship with food is positive. We want to ensure that your relationship with what you're doing, your relationship with yourself is positive as well. And understanding that I say this, I must sound like a fucking parrot, like a broken record. Like, we're all human beings. Like, we understand, we've done this for a long time. There is no, in all fairness, like, we're probably guilty of overinvestment anyway. Like, we probably care more than you do, genuinely. And yes, it's fucking frustrating. Sometimes I don't think anyone on this call that I work with directly on a day-by-day basis, checking-by-checking basis, would say that I've ever really bollocked them, because it's not my place to do so. What I will do is explain to you why you fucked up and how we're going to fix that moving forward. I'm only going to bring Steve Ryan up because I can see his face and he's like smiling. But I remember one day specifically, I was walking around the park and I went on his check-in, and this is back in the day when we were doing check-ins a different way. And I saw that he'd had a fucking KFC the day before he checked in. Right.
Look at it hanging his head today.
I was thinking about this a minute ago.
Really
As soon as you started talking about this, I was thinking about this.
Yeah. And he said, I had a KFC yesterday. In all fairness, the situation was slightly different. He didn't fall into a KFC. He was in a social occasion, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't matter. But he said to me, and it wasn't the KFC that bothered me. It was the lack of thought that I explained to him. I said, you had a cheat meal, but you also had a cheat meal. I hate the word cheat meal. You had an off-plan meal, or you had an Adherence Rewards, but you did it the day before your check-in. And what frustrates me from a reward standpoint for clients as individuals, as you all, is you're not able to bank that progress. You're not able to get that gratification of your hard work, because you potentially, well, I say you potentially, you have disrupted the scales, you have disrupted your progress. You're in a position where that kilo that you've lost, that kilo and a half that you've lost, may only look like 0.2, 0.3. And if that's the case, that lack of that motivation may be lost. And I don't want that. I want you guys firing and saying, yes, I fucking smashed it this week. Maybe now I deserve a KFC. What do you reckon, Court? And I'll say no. Simple as that, and we'll crack the fuck on. But yeah, quite simply, that's my only thing is that communication taught to us. It will only happen once. You guys only have to ask a question once. I'm sure you can all vouch for that. You say, what's the situation with this? Yes, no, maybe. This is how we do things. And you're like, cool. And you're a more developed, more educated, more well-rounded person to continue to rock and roll forward. The positives, most importantly, mental break from dieting, physical break from the plan, teaches you can have an off-plan meal without it ruining your progress, improves food relationships and confidence, able to enjoy time with family, loved ones in social environments. Me and Mads don't have to worry about that. And then enjoy social occasions with zero guilt. So again, strategy, going into something, you've got confidence, you're not there. One thing I do massively promote is that I'm invincible mindset. You need to have that. And if you don't, the amount of stress that's caused, cortisol levels go off the Richter scale, chemical balance. I've talked to my guys a lot about this over the past couple of weeks. The ability to, if we're going to get scientific, the ability to partition and deliver and uptake nutrients is massively reduced by your chemical balance. Your chemical balance is pretty much determined by the level of stress you carry as an individual, and that's stress from training, that's stress from personal life, that's stress completely, start to finish. So if you're somebody, swear down, you're somebody going into a Nando's and you're like, fucking hell, shall I eat that? No, shall I eat that? Yeah, I'm going to eat it. No, I'm not going to eat it. Yeah, I'm going to. That amount of turmoil, your rising cortisol, your rising stress as a whole around that, you eat it, you feel guilty straight away, will do more damage and be the result of a negative feedback from scales, aesthetics, whatever it may be. That will be the reason why your body does not respond well to that situation, as opposed to you having a medium chicken with a side of peri salted chips. I promise you. Okay, so having the mental approach of, I'm doing this, I deserve it, it's fine, I know what I'm doing, I know how I'm doing it, and then just attacking it, putting it down, enjoyed that, move on. Yeah, that is the most important thing. I don't think we need to sort of go over these points. I think they're fairly self-explanatory. Perspective, guys, what do we think? Feedback, talk to sleep.
All good.
You like that, Cal?
Love that.
Cal, mister, what even is an off-plan meal?
It's because I'm eating loads. I'm sorry, man. I hate them. They make me feel shit. They make me feel horrible.
Yeah, I agree.
Chicken and rice.
Yeah, when you get to a position where your food is very, very high, talking about ticking boxes, do you know what? Like, if you're going to be pushing food in, you might as well just eat the food that you're eating, because the reality is nothing is really off the table. You want bagels, have bagels. You want pasta, have pasta. You want a squares bar, have a squares bar. That's really super, super minor because your calories are so high. And to be fair, you probably end up under eating. I remember when I was like falling asleep when we were out in Dubai, like 1 o'clock in the morning, trying to eat like 150 grams of oats, my 7th meal. And Mads was like, Corey, wake up. I'm like, I am awake. It's like, no, you're not, eat your food. I'm like, I am eating. Nightmare. But anyone else, like, what's your guys' perspective? Any of the girls? I won't put anyone on the spot. I won't start naming names unless somebody speaks up.
Like, does it give you anxiety, like thinking, oh, I've got a meal to eat with the family, but I don't want to ruin my progress? Like, is that something that people feel?
Like, for me, I get massive like anxiety over the fact of thinking, like, over the last few days at work, we've been collecting Easter eggs for kids and stuff like that. And everyone's been like, oh, wouldn't you just love to eat these and stuff like that? I'm like, mate, move away from me right now. Otherwise, I'm throwing the Easter egg at you. And my family cooked a massive family barbecue yesterday. I had all my family over, and they're like, "Why can't you like? Can you eat this? Can you eat that? Can you eat this? Can you eat that?" I'm like, "Mate, please go away, go away." And it stressed me out because everyone's coming up to me going, "Why are you not eating this? Why are you not eating that? Why are you like?" I have kids coming up to me, literally like running around with Easter eggs, going, "Have this." I'm like, "No."
The thing is, so that's a perfect example. For
Stressed me out.
You're having a family barbecue, right? That's a
I felt so guilty
example.
for it. I felt so guilty for like because everyone in my family saying you're so moody.
Yeah, but it's a perfect example of something you could do though. So that is a good example, being like, okay, so I could have a family barbecue because I could cook my chicken on the barbecue, for example. So yeah, that's how much chicken I would eat. So put that on a skewer with some pepper. I'm gonna get involved with the occasion. I'll have that. But that is something
This
like,
is torture.
Yeah. It's stressful. It is. Like, do you know what? Like, we'll call it what it is. It is stressful. It's hard. I remember when me and Mads first started seeing each other, and she was prepping for the British finals, and she went up to her mums and dads up north, and I literally sent her up there with an instruction manual of like, don't eat anything. If you're gonna eat anything, take your chicken, cook it on the barbecue. Like, and we came up with this plan together. No wonder why her mum and dad doesn't like me. Do you know what I mean? Oh, well, Corey said I'm allowed to eat this. Like, wow. Do you know what I mean? So, but the reality is, you can only do what you can do. Like in these situations, Remy. Like, it's a very, very difficult situation to be in, because the people, the loved ones around you know you as what you have previously been and what they've experienced. So in a situation where potentially you've had 10, 15, 20 barbecues with these people, and you're always like get involved and have a piece of the Easter egg, like, then it's going to be very, very strange, and it's going to be like, it's a hard transition. So you have got to respect that. And there's also a situation where I think, without realizing, guys, genuinely, as individuals, we tend to accidentally force this on people as well. And that's why I think you've also got to make the decision and decide how you're going to be approaching these situations. Sometimes I won't go to situations at all, because do you know what? Like, somebody's going to ask me about bodybuilding. Somebody's going to get pissed off because I'm talking about bodybuilding at their wedding or the funeral or someone's birthday. And it's like, oh, here we go, like, it's the Corey show again.
I'm glad it's not just me.
No, I'll put it in the group. Let me text them. Just say I keep freezing.
Yeah, I thought that was just me.
Oh, have you lost me?
Our internet keeps going, doesn't it?
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
You keep on skipping out, Core.
Oh, fuck's sake.
It's cutting a bit, yeah.
We're just talking between ourselves.
Fuck's sake.
Chill.
It's like on Monday, we're seeing John's mum, and she was like, let's go down the seafront for fish and chips. And I'm like, no, we can't have that. She's like, but it's Easter. I'm like, I don't care. We can't have that. Like, I don't want fish and chips anyway, but people don't understand, do they?
My preference are the same. When they say, I'll come round for dinner, I'm like, well, I can't eat anything, so you know, there's not really. It's not that I can't. I don't like to have off-plan meals, because as soon as I have an off-plan meal, I'm quite all or nothing. I think, well, I might as, like what Corey was saying, I might as well have a chocolate bar and then I'll have some drinks, and if I'm doing that, I might as well start smoking again, you know, in 5 minutes.
Can help, Steve.
I know. That's why I think he's only given.
The signal situation is dog shit. It's fucking pissing me off.
Right, next week I can't end up fucking getting a 4 o'clock train home.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now, guys?
Yeah.
Sorry, I will sue for all of us. Quite simply, I think most importantly, just understanding that there's two sides to this situation. Number one is going to be how we actually approach it and how we deal with it and how people respond as well. And that communication will be massively, massively important. So I understand what you're saying, Remy, but again, moving forward, speak to Mads. What's the situation? Like, how do I deal with this?
You only have to ask once. It's like, right, I tell you what, if I'm going to be there for 3 hours, I'll get 2 meals in at that time. I eat chicken or I eat beef. I can take a steak, buy yourself a nice steak. Why not? If there's salad there, do you know what I mean? Steak and salad or whatever, and then you're good to go. Bang that on the barbecue. You're involved. Do you know what I mean? You're not sitting there like, look, I think people must hate it. You imagine, right? You're turning up a better version of yourself, progressing, and you're sat there looking at everyone digging into fucking hot dogs and burgers with fucking Easter eggs on the side, and you're like, you fat fuckers. Like,
I think also for me, like,
That's what.
I think also
Where's it
for
the
me,
cinema?
yeah.
I think for me also, like, this week has been quite stressful. Sorry to jump in, Paige. Sorry.
No, it's all right.
Fuck's sake, then.
I think it's sorry, John. Like my stress levels have been quite high, and I think most knows why, because where I got quite a lot of backlash from what I'm doing. I think my stress levels went a little bit higher. That's why I didn't want to eat it anyway.
Yeah.
So like I was like, okay.
I done it yesterday. We walked into the cinema and then I looked at the queue for the ice cream and I said to Paley, I was like, no, I mean, I'm looking at all their bodies. I went, that's why I'm not getting one.
100%.
And I was like, I want the sweets. And John was like, yeah, well, look at her. I was like, John, you can't say that.
And then there was the other side of me. I said to Paley, that's why I didn't get any sweets or ice cream like that. And then 5 minutes later, she went, oh, can I sit over there because I'm pregnant and they smell? I was like, oh, shit. She's pregnant.
Get a sugar-free Tango Ice Blast. That'll do you.
And then I had my 100 grams of strawberries and 20 grams of dark chocolate.
Love
And
that.
you still had a
Sorted.
nice time. You didn't need the sweets.
Love that.
Exactly.
That's good.
Can I just ask, Mads, what's the deal with sort of Diet Coke?
Yeah, enjoy your Diet Coke. Crack on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm
Any-
volunteering
any-
to drive everywhere. Diet Coke is my saviour.
Any diet drinks are fine. We just say like in moderation because everything's got sweetener in, right? So like too much sweetener just
Sweet for your
hurts
day.
our digestion a little bit. So just go like, don't have like Kirk's not on the call, but he would have like 10 cans a day, which is excessive. But like a can of Diet Coke,
Right.
can of Diet Coke, can of Monster or Rain drinks, people like them, like Pepsi Max. Any of those diet drinks are absolutely fine. Yeah, carry on. Yeah, fine.
Okay,
mate.
cool.
Yeah. Enjoy.
Has
They're
anyone
my
else?
saviour.
Has anyone else come up against any sort of hurdles with regards to this off-plan eating? Anything
Well, yeah,
anything
I did.
I'm not talking to you. Anything you want to confess?
Glenn,
Dominoes.
Hiya. Hi
we don't
everyone.
talk about that.
We'll get onto that in a minute. Aisha, go on.
Yeah, I was just about to say that I think one of the biggest hurdles I faced was being post-show for 4 weeks, and a lot of my family and friends not really understanding that I'm still on a meal plan.
Yeah.
So they think, oh, you're finished now, so why are you still on a meal plan? Why can't you just eat what you want? I'm like, I am eating what I want. It's great. I think it's just that kind of, again, I think it goes back to that social side of being able to say, no, actually, I'm doing this, and I'm doing this because I want to do it. I think that's the biggest hurdle for me, really, is people not really understanding that just because you are post-show, it doesn't mean that it stops.
Do you know what? This is a massive point. I'm glad you brought this up because I think almost all of you at this very moment in time have either or are on the rebound now out of a dieting phase or are about to be. Steve, you're about to be. John, you're about to be. Adam, you already are. Stuart, you are. Ricky is. Like and Aisha, by the way, can I just say, like, you look absolutely fucking incredible at the moment.
Oh, thank you.
I saw your check-in photos yesterday and you look wicked, unreal.
Thanks so much.
Perfect example of how to do this. Adam's a prime example. Stuart is as well. Like, you guys will probably be more hungry, manage your expectations, Ricky will agree, off the back of a diet when you start getting food, because hunger hormones start kicking in. You're in a position where you know that you're not dieting anymore and you're growing, and that wandering hand starts to happen, starts to be a thing. So understand that the more regimented you can be with your commitment to your diet, the faster your food climbs. I'd probably say quite confidently, I don't know what Aisha's eating at the moment, but I can guarantee it is fucking truckloads more than she was when she first started dieting.
Oh yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah,
it's great.
So, but she's in better shape probably now than she was like a week post show, because the consistency is there. And Adam's a prime example. Stuart's a prime example. Like these boys, Ricky's a prime example. Ricky's put 3 or 4 kilos on since his shoot. His food hasn't climbed silly high, but because he's been sensible, we're in a position where like I can give him more food because his composition would allow it, his body weight would allow it. If Ricky or Adam or any of the boys that have already been on the rebound started falling into fucking cheat meals every couple of days, that calorie average increases. I can't validate putting your food up. So you're actually, can you still hear me, guys?
It's all good.
Yeah. So I can't validate putting your food up because your calories for that week is already higher. Do you know what I mean? So if your calories are already up, I can't give you an extra 300 calories a day because you've already had an extra 1,000 calories a day on your calorie average.
You also end up having to like hold your diet back a little bit, and
massively.
Abby's not on now, so I can slag her off. I'm joking. When I rebounded her out of prep last year, and she'll admit it, like she didn't stick fully to the plan, so her weight climbed too quickly, and I was like, mate, like this is really important. And she was moving house at the time. There was a lot going on, and her mum wasn't very well, and she had just a lot going on, and she just sort of fell off, and it meant that she gained 8 to 10 kilos very quickly. And then I had to re-diet her because she was about to go into an off season, and I can't start an off season with someone when you've got 10 kilos of body fat straight away because you're not very receptive. So then she came out of the back of the prep, ruined it within 3-4 weeks. I had to re-diet her, then try and push her. The last thing you want after you've been dieting for so long is to have to diet again because you spoiled your rebound. And just for a bit of clarity, like Aisha's food, for people that like want to understand, she's now eating, she's gone from prep where she's had like 4 no carb meals a day, and she's now eating in the morning, she's got a full bagel or 60-70 grams of oats, she's got like 40 to 50 grams of rice in meals, then she's got pre-workout, she's got 2 bagels, or she's got a big bowl of cereal, she's got loads of food. So she's like
absolutely loving it.
She's got like granola in her last meal, like she's loving life. So that's how much food, and she's only 4 weeks post show. And just for clarity, she's not even quite yet, I don't think, 2 kilos up from her show weight. So her show weight, is that about right, Aisha? You're about 53 kilos,
yeah,
54.8 now, yeah?
Yeah, I'm 54.8 now. For my show, I was like 52.4.
Okay, there you go. So about 2 kilos up, looks bigger, but leaner. Legs are growing like crazy because now all the food that we're shuttling in, because she's training hard, is going directly to the muscle, growing, used for recovery. She hasn't got, what you need to remember is the more fat stores you've got, they will absorb energy from the food that you eat. So if the fat stores are low, when you eat and you train hard, you will shuttle all those nutrients to the places that it needs to go. So that is the optimal place to be. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it. No, I think that's it though, guys. For your motivation, I think that's probably a perfect thing to take away. I should time that perfectly. Like your motivation to see the bigger picture is always like, well, I'm hungry now. Well, I could cheat on my diet now, and I could have that Domino's now. But if I stuck to my diet, in 2 weeks' time, I'm probably going to be eating double the amount of food that I am already, if I was to nail it. And for me, that hunger today won't be hunger in 2 weeks' time. Yeah. So that's a big motivator for you. Anyone else? How's everyone else feeling with regards to off-plan meals? What we've said today. I'm not going to bollock John, because John's actually doing extremely well. I'm very, very proud of him. We've already had
Paige, actually. Paige is doing very well.
Yeah, you both are smashing it.
Thanks, John.
The berry blasters, love it. Anyone else? Everyone else good?
I've got one question actually.
Go on, hit me.
Just like, because it's not so much food that I miss, but sometimes it's like chocolate and things like that.
No
snacks.
You know, I was just, what do you think about like protein bars? I mean, are they any?
No, protein bars are okay if you have like the right ones. Like there are some, like grenade bars are okay because they're very, very low carb, very, very low sugar. They're just pure protein. So they can be a replacement for, it's essentially a replacement for the chicken you would eat in a meal. So if you've got like a porridge option, a bowl of oats option, and with 30 grams of whey, you could swap the whey for one of those protein bars, but it does have to be the right ones. Like you can't.
This is my clients you're speaking to. Speak to your own clients, bro.
Frozen at just the right time. He's giving her a slap.
That is a brilliant phrase.
Kick it off.
I would send a photo of what it is, because there's a lot of shit out there. Like a lot of
Yeah.
them are really carby and they're full of shit, but pure protein.
So if the barbell ones were all right.
What?
You'd have to have a look.
You'd have to have a look. You'd have to send us a lot. We don't recommend them because a lot of them are shit. But if you have
Not
the right ones,
that they're on my plan anyway,
substitute
but-
for your meat and your meal, yeah. But not as an addition, because otherwise you're having an extra 20 grams of protein.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, these protein bars, tell me if I'm wrong, guys, they're like between like 300 and 500 calories.
No, not all. Yeah.
250.
Oh, this is soul destroying, isn't it?
How annoying is it?
Am I fucking
Just as they're about to speak.
Oh, no. We might have to
Oh, I think they're back.
Should we just take still shots of all of the funny faces and send them in the group later on?
Yeah, guys. Sorry.
Go on.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, yeah.
Right. Yeah. So quite simply, I think most importantly, the idea behind it is it's great from a convenience standpoint, but I would rather personally whole food based nutrients coming in, like simple as that. I'm not a massive fan of anything processed in that sense. Okay, whey protein is whey protein, that's fine. But I would rather 250 to 300 to 400 calories worth of chicken and rice than you having a protein bar with sweeteners, sucralose, aspartame, all of this shit. It's chicken and rice would be a better option. However, if it was a worst case, it would be a better option than a Mars bar, I suppose. I suppose. Anyone else? Everyone else good?
All good.
All good.
All good. Maddie, thank you for your help, by the way. You know, I said to you my cholesterol was really high.
Yeah.
It was like 9.8 or something.
Yeah.
I had a blood test done the other week and it's now I think it's 8 or something, so it's gone down. They've put me on statins though, which I'm not happy about, but I've got to go and see I think it's the endocrinology department or something, but they want me to keep going on them, but I'll let you know. I'll keep you
Amazing.
updated. So
that's like what, two weeks in, Rachel, 3 weeks
Yeah.
into a new diet, and cholesterol is on its way down. This is good.
It's amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Well
I
done.
know.
That's good.
Super.
Thanks.
And you look better.
Thank you.
Big apologies for the connection, guys. It's absolutely fucking pissed me right off. But I hope today has been informative. Get some more ideas in terms of what we want to discuss in the weeks moving forwards. We should have a better turnout next week. We've had loads of people drop off, to be fair, this week, which is interesting. But yeah, if you all need anything, obviously always please message. But super proud of you all, and have a fantastic Easter. Nobody have an Easter egg. All right.
Any questions? Let us know in the group. See you later.
Lots of love.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
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 Bye.